So many people think that, movies are just movies. It's made up. They grab actors and actresses, they grab directors, and they put them together and create this movie. A great movie, especially a really good one. But I believe that a lot of these movies that they create, a lot of these movies that they put out, especially the futuristic movies, especially like some of these action movies, are real. These are real stories. These are real action and futuristic stories. Even a lot of these romantic stories, especially because love is love, and love is one of the most powerful frequencies on Earth, on this planet, inside of us. But this one movie stuck out to me the other day, and I absolutely felt an alignment, a resonation to this movie. And this movie is called Lucy. My name is Lucy. My government name is Lucille, but for short for Lucille, it's Lucy. Some people call me Lulu, but all three names, it means delight. Literally, just two words, delight. But this particular movie called Lucy is on Netflix right now, and it's gonna be removed from Netflix in a couple days. So if you want to watch that movie, you better go watch it now. You can always probably watch it on YouTube. Perhaps you have to pay for it, or like rent it or whatever. But either way, this particular movie, Lucy, caught my attention so much because listen, man, I literally had to watch this movie twice in one day. This movie is very long. But I had to watch this movie twice, back to back, because I was led to. And I'm a very obedient soul. I'm a very obedient human being. So, I had to rewind this movie from the tippy top and really grasp what this movie was about and the message that was behind this written movie. And some people are like, oh, it's just written, it's made up. A lot of these movies, shows, and cartoons are not just made up. A lot of times the universe, Mother Nature, guides us to write. And when we write, a lot of it is truth. It's a lot of truth in what we write. So the message that I got from Lucy, the movie Lucy, Lucy put herself into a situation where she didn't know anything. Lucy put herself into a situation she didn't know anything about initially. She was afraid. The Koreans took advantage of her weakness and used her as another human being to experiment on and transport drugs and harm her. If she didn't comply, that was going to harm her if she didn't comply with anything they wanted her to do. At this point, she's in too deep. Before I go further, the Most High always use us as examples to expose the truth. I truly know that. This is another way that the universe lays out its message to humanity. The drugs they stored and implanted inside her busted inside of her from a man kicking her in the stomach because she didn't want to have sexual contact with him. When the drugs exploded inside of her, she began to shift energetically. We only use 10% of our brains, but with the medicines exploding inside of her, it caused her to use 20% of her brain. I know this haven't been discovered yet in this physical realm, but the story, the moral of the story about ourselves, she was an example of us being more than what we were told we were. When religion started, people were laying down how we should be and who we are to be in this life based on lords and laws, which made us think just 10% of our brain. Very limited. We are more than just humans. We are connected and created from everything lively. We as humans are just are we as humans are just the human image of the cells and particles of everything. The universe and galaxies share knowledge and wisdom with us, so we can continue to share that wisdom. It gives us with our children to continue the life cycle. So many people want to experience space. We are already in space. That's why we see the stars, the moon, and the sun from where we are. Even though we cannot see other planets, they still have an effect on us psychologically. We may not see other planets and things up there because there is a certain percentage of the distance between where we are located. Of course, it's the distance between us. I believe the earth is protected from specific things from the outer parts around the earth as well. The reason we don't see anything. The reason that we don't see everything. I used to believe that, speaking of that, I used to believe that time is an illusion. I no longer believe that because all we have is time. I no longer believe that because all we have is time. We live based on time. Not the numbers like, 1:43 p.m. or it's 5:45 p.m. or it's 2:22 p.m. The time that man-made for us to recognize the order of how they want us to be ordered, of how we should spend time with us working and going out and spending time on this and that, basically control. We all have a time. I believe we all have a time when we will go back into matter. We all have a time when we will be born. I call it unknowing, but not sure if it will happen. For example, when we feel the sense we should leave someone or something alone, but we prolong our stagnancy by staying there, knowing that it is time to move on. Another example, the universe have a timing when it steps in to guide us to another level or through our circumstances when it knows we are ready. Third example, knowledge and learning are handed down through time. It takes time. Healing takes time. Not at 1:11 p.m., not at 1:23 p.m., not at 10:11 a.m. Those times are man-made. But the times within our spirit, the knowing that we have, the process of us being here on this physical realm, we are running through time. We have access. We have access to an infinite amount of knowledge from the outside realms. We have to allow ourselves to think limitless and study the things we are curious about. If you have no question, what are you believing? Are you believing what other people tell you? Are you believing what you're just reading? Are you believing Google, AI? Or are you believing in your spirit, what is real? what Mother Nature taught us, the seed, the actual, real, vital seed that is meant to be here instead of what man made, you know? When a student is ready to learn, a teacher appears. Once we seek more information, we expose ourselves to unknown information or information no one else can give us. And a part of that is spending time in nature alone, individually, not as a group, because a lot of times when you sit in groups, such as religion does, they sit in groups. They get up under these four walls, sit in groups and set laws and regulations and things that limits you into a box. But individually, spending time with yourself, spending time with spirit, it'll teach you information that no one else can give you. Our brains start expanding into a wide range of alleys of information, not from someone else. We have to get out of the habit of just believing what conditioned us to think in limited ways. Limited information causes division and also causes us to reject others' perspectives. When others' perspectives is also important, but you have to have that discernment to use it or not, to apply it to your life or not. We have to use our discernment. What we are conditioned with as kids, we have to really, although we are taught certain things, taught certain informations, taught certain religions and spiritualities, we have to do our own research. We all perceive information at different times. Speaking of time, we all perceive information at different times, and our perspectives are different, but only if we just allow ourselves to teach us from our own experiences, we can achieve a healthy nature or community. Do what makes you feel alive. Do what makes you feel alive. There's no question on, should I do this? Should I not? Should I say this? Should I not? Do what you feel your heart tells you should say or do, because your heart feels. And I truly dislike when people say, oh, I have no feelings. Who are you? Who are you if you have no feelings? Are you human? Are you really meant to be here, or are you a distraction? Are you a distraction? Because if you have no feelings, if you can't love, if you can't feel love, if you can't feel hurt, if you can't feel anxiety, the things that humans supposed to feel, being human as spirits, if you can't feel these things, who are you? This is why we have to balance ourselves. We have to get to know masculine and feminine. We have to get to know the masculine energy and the feminine energy. And knowing those two, we will definitely know how to balance ourselves. Know how to balance our minds, how we think, how we feel in our hearts. Because our hearts are very important. We are seeds of Mother Nature. Everything is born from a female. Everything is born from a female. Because first it's feminine and then it's a male. Female. We both have to coexist to be able to reproduce. Female, feminine and masculine energy. So when we work together in a more fair way, a more balanced way, we are able to understand how life is. How we are more able to understand how humanity works. We are more to understand how we can build a foundation, build a legacy for ourselves and our children, and our children's children, and our children's children. You know? So this is basically the message that I just wanted to put out. And I actually felt I'm just literally sitting in nature, sitting up under a big behind tree. And, this is something that I wrote in my notes 2 weeks ago. And I felt led to just read it. I was reading this whole time, but the last message was intuitively afterwards, because I understand what I wrote. I understand what I wrote. Not under. I understand what I wrote. And this is what it is. And you can judge it however you want to judge it. People have their own opinion. And if you are judging it, that just means you are part of a community of religion. And you are thinking very limited. You are thinking very boxed. And that's not me judging you. I'm just telling you what it is. That's the truth. You have to think limitless, because you or people thinking limited, you are limiting how the Most High, how the Creator created us. We are limitless beings. There is more than just words. We are more than scriptures in a book. We are more than just praise and worship in four walls. Listen, I'm not saying that is worthless. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm telling you, when you open your mind to something differently, you absorb a spiritual sense of knowing. You absorb a spiritual sense of knowing yourself. You have to spend time isolated. And isolation just means alone. It doesn't have to mean sad. It doesn't have to mean being left out. It doesn't have to mean being separated from other people who don't like you. Isolation just means being separated from in a distance. And that can just that isolation, being in that state of isolation, can help you understand who you are, what nature is. Because when you spend time alone, you begin to hear your higher self give you messages. If you're not overthinking about things that you are going through on the outside of yourself, or other people on the outside of yourself, you have to literally be isolated for you to just think within yourself, think for yourself, and be able to know who you are. Who are you without religion? Who are you without people telling you who you should be? Who are you without people telling you what you should be? Who are you before people are telling you what is wrong and what is right? Who are you? What if we didn't have none of that? Who will you be? Who are you with none of that? That is spirituality. Spending time alone, getting to know who you are. Peace, love, and light. Ashe.